Hey, Paradox for JuanSource.com. I'm going to be doing an article today on Contra, T-pistols on Contra. So I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to be going over 3 strats today, okay? Because Contra, especially on the T side, is a pretty spawn-based map. Like if you get spawns towards the B site, you could do B rushes. You know, you want to have a lot of different options to take advantage of the spawns. And in general, in my opinion, is that this map is T-sided. So pistol rounds is definitely going to be a big key. Starting off that match, trying to get those first 3 is going to set the tone. And from there you should have at least an 8-7 half, at least take the lead during the half, take a little bit of pressure off your CT side. So first strat I'm going to do is going to be the B split. The buys on this strat are going to be 1 USP nade, one second player is going to have a nade and 2 flashes, and the other 3 are going to have Glock armor. Now, normally when I say Glock armor, you could, kind of deviate from that, and if you want a deagle or something like that, you could go with that. But on this strat specifically, I'd recommend that you do have 3 Glock armors. Basically, just for the range and all that, the way it's going to play out, Glock armor is going to be a better buy, in my opinion, than deagle. If you don't want to take my advice, then you're really confident in your deagle skills and all that. Well, that's your call. So yeah, 3 Glock armors, 1 USP grenade, and 1 grenade and 2 flashes. Okay, so what's going to happen on the strat? Normally, you want to run this if you have a B spawn. So normally, what's going to happen on a B spawn is you have 4 players spawned around this area, and then typically 1 player spawned further away. All right, so what's going to happen is you guys rush. Okay, and at this point, it doesn't really matter. Normally, maybe on a gun round, you may do this based on spawn. To make things simple, you could assign roles to a certain player and run the strat that way. So you have a set group of players that go in box room, set group of players go in plank. The timing's not really gonna do too much to you. So the one thing that I would do is send the first Glock armor down this plank, okay, just so he could. You'll just see kind of how the timing works out. He's going to wrap on the spiral stairs in the dark room. So once you get to here, the USP nade is going to continue through to the box room, and this is so you can maybe fight people at spawn or in the site. You get a little better range over here. May even want to wait for grenades here. So 1 USP nade and 1 Glock armor are going to go to the box room. The person with the 2 flashes and the grenade, right away as you're going out, this person with the flash is going to do one kind of high off the skybox, okay, right there, and pretty much you want that to stop any sort of sand rush or anything like that, window peek and all that. Going to give you really easy access to this plank without really worrying about anything. Okay, so that USP, rather the 2 flash guy, is going to do that and continue, and then the other 2 Glock armors are going to follow him, and you really quickly want to get into this stand, okay, or this plank room rather. So 1 player down here right away, Glock armor is going to go wrap around. This is not going to be the bomb. I don't really like sending the bomb down here, so whoever doesn't have the bomb out of these Glock armors is going to continue here. Say the guy that gets there quickest, and boom, you're going to wrap as quick as possible. 2 players are going to come up the plank, okay. Second flash should go CT spawn, and you could continue, kind of, cut it off a little bit and continue. Now, at this point, the person who has the nades and then the person with the USP coming through box room both have grenades. Now, what I'd recommend, unless you're a flanker guy, that one spiral is up already and frag that guy, I'd recommend that you nade or even double nade into this dark room, especially if you don't get an entry kill. If you don't get an entry kill, and it's likely that there's going to be a player playing down here, or maybe even kind of wait an angle out right here, trying to hold this B solo, because on CT it's really hard to hold this site, playing in the site, especially against the rush. So a lot of teams, if they do play in here, you should have no problem fragging them, splitting from 2 different ways and having nades and all that, and pretty much just swarming them. and then having this guy flank from here too is going to be a big nuisance. But if you don't get any entry kills in the site, or even if you don't spot anybody CT spawn, really likely there's going to be a player here. So you do want to do at least one grenade, and once again, you know, a lot of players like to play on that left. So even if you don't hit him, it's a precaution. If you do hit him, I mean, this guy is going to just be really crippled. So I think that's a big thing to do. As for the plant, it kind of depends where you want to play it from. I think on Pissed Around, the best thing to do is going to be, well, you can actually plant for both sides. You can plant out in the open for plank and for dark. So you could plant out here. I'm a fan of this plant right here for dark, and then having players play in the dark. Thing is, on this strat, if you think about it, you're not really faking A or anything like that. The A players are going to have their grenades, so you want to be careful about that. You want to you don't want to get like double or triple naded, you know, playing 2 or 3 guys in this dark, and then have nobody really be able to cover the bomb too well. So I do like planning for dark nonetheless. I think it's the safest way to go. Not really relying on shot hitting and all that, and it's kind of hard to cover. You only have one USP, so if this USP dies right here, it's going to be hard to cover that bomb if you don't plant for that dark. So try to get that plant down for the dark room. At least 2 players in here, sometimes even 3. Sometimes I like having a guy down here, or kind of down in the plank, kind of working this angle right here, or even down here. And this guy can easily come back up in case somebody gets naded and continue to help cover that. Okay, right here. So pretty simple strat. I don't want to really overcomplicate things overall. This is going to be a 3-2 split, and you're going to work in the 2-1-1 split. So once again, your USP nade and your Glock armor go to box room. 3 people go over to plank. 1 person with 2 flashes and a nade. Quick flash off that little pillar, blind everything in the sand in the window, run in here, don't really want to fight people in the middle at all, and split the B site. 1 person down through the spiral, and 2 people through the plank room. Okay, and just swarm on the site. Flashbang goes in on the CT spawn once again, and at this point grenades probably on the stairs. So that's going to be your B split. Once again, this is going to be more of a B rush on Pissed Around. Okay, I want this to be spawn based. If you have a bad spawn, this strat is probably not going to work as well. You can try it, see how it works. I mean, B's a really hard site to cover on Pissed Around from the CT standpoint. So you may still want to go there, or you may want to tweak it a little bit. That's up to you. That's going to be your B split. Okay, so second strat is going to be A split. Okay, and this is what I'm going to prefer in the case that you don't have a B spawn. And with A split, I'm going to give you 2 different options. Okay, I'm going to give you the option of going either, you're definitely going to have people go upper, but you're either going to have people go lower or sand. I don't think you should split 3 ways. Okay, especially on Pissed Around, I don't think it's really good to split 3 ways. So either upper and lower, or upper and sand, and I'll kind of explain how that's going to work out and what each is going to do for you. So the buys on this Pissed Around are going to be 2 USPs, and each of those guys is going to have 1 flashbang. Okay, so 2 people with a USP and a flash, and then you're going to have 3 people with Glock armor or a deagle. Once again, you know, this is one of the strats you could go kind of whatever buy you really want to do. Okay, 1 deagle may really be good if you're going sand too. Get that range going. So there's going to be kind of 2 different setups here depending on if you go lower or sand. Okay, if you're going sand to A, then you're going to send 2 people to upper. Okay, so your main force is going to go sand. Your bomb's still going to go to upper. 1 of the USP flash is going to go upper, and then a Glock armor is going to go upper with the bomb. May I add, so the Glock armor is going to have the bomb, and you guys are going to kind of work your pace at A. Don't want to get too aggressive here. You know, you could kind of spot this upper out right here, but you don't really want to give this A split away. You know, if you run up middle and you peek upper right away, it's going to kind of give it away. So try to try to time it so that you guys are going to be kind of coming out at the same time. Sand guys and upper guys are going to be sort of trying to take control at the same time. If you want to draw nades at upper early on, that's fine too. Kind of really whatever you want to do. See what works. Kind of depends on what the other team's doing too. So find the pace that works for you over here at the upper. Okay, so USP flash and Glock armor with the bomb. Other 3 players on this specific one are going to go up middle. Okay, so the other USP flash, I'd save that grenade, by the way. So you can just run up middle most of the time. There's going to be 1 player here. Really not a lot to worry about. You can overwhelm him, you know, push him off, drop into the sand, and really you want to go really fast from here. So you want to take the sand. I'm a big fan of that flash right there. It kind of just blinds everything. And you could also sync that with people coming out the upper. And the upper guys can, you know, that'll blind pretty much anyone playing over there up top. And the upper guys can also flash out too into the back hall. So from here, the only thing really you have to worry about is going to be lower, okay, and CT spawn to a degree. But if you haven't gotten entry kills, especially, and there's, you know, not a player upper, really likely that they stack lower. So really what you want to do is first off get the plant in the site, because you're going to be defending from the upper. Okay, so get the plant in the site so the Glock armor guy drops down, and then I'd say you want to take some sort of control of this back hall here, alright, and maybe run 1 guy over to the upper this way, so you're going to have 2 guys defending from the upper. Really going to be effective. If you want to get risky and you want to push up on the spawn with the Glock armor or something like that, you could do that too and catch people off guard. Just peeking in and out here. You don't really want to play full passive, so really however you want to defend that. You could also go down into the sewer if you want, try to take a little bit of control of the lower. That's fine too. But overall, just try to swarm the site. The main thing is going to be, once you drop down from that sand, that middle, you really just want to go full pace and not get delayed at all. Okay, so that's going to be a really simple A split. The main thing is going to be to time that upper. Okay, so the upper guys come out when that flash goes out from sand. Ton of pressure being put, so you guys can just run out and boom. So you may want to draw nades in the beginning, kind of see what's going on. Go out, take the site together. A bomb can drop right into it. Plant. USP guy may stay up here. You know, maybe spot down the back hall or something like that, supporting taking the site, and sand guys are going to overrun it. A lot of teams are going to have a ton of trouble trying to hold this with 2 players of people coming sand and upper. Okay, now you're not going lower on this, but if you figure it kind of cancels it out by you planting the bomb on the site, just coming from the upper, dropping the bomb on the site. As long as you get that bomb down, it doesn't really matter if you have control of this lower or not, because the bomb's planted for you. You have aerial advantage over here, and you're going to be covering the bomb from up top anyway, so you may as well just not even worry about lower. Okay, and if they do stack it, it really just makes your site take a lot easier. So yeah, that's going to be your A split if you go through sand. Your A split if you go through lower, you're going to send 3 people through upper, and this is going to be, once again, USP flash is going to go through this upper, and I'd say 2 Glock armors may want to do this. You could even send both USPs up here. Doesn't really matter, as long as you have that bomb upper, 3 people upper. Doesn't really matter how you split people. Now when you're going lower, and sorry I'm flying around a lot, but when you're going lower, you want to go through this safe way. Okay, you don't want to be peeking in the middle and all that. You don't really want to give anything away here. Just get to lower as quick as possible and try to get pushed up here. So this is a pretty good area for you to fight against anybody trying to push up. If the CTs try to push, you can even kind of beat them here and gain a lot of advantage over here in terms of position. So you really want to get kind of close up and continue working. Strafe around a lot. You know, they don't have ops, they have USP, so you can kind of dodge your bullets and all that, evade. Don't really want to fight here too much. Okay, fire off a few shots and just continue and put a ton of pressure, kind of clear this lower off and force them to play from the back hall and the sand. Okay, now the upper guys are going to have 3 upper in the case that they do play upper, so you're going to do this full pace here. Okay, instead of spotting and waiting for anything to happen, full pace, run up. May just want to flash here, do something like that, and just run out and get into the mud. You don't really want to be spotted from this lower back hall. USP can even post up Alright, or you could try to pick off really quickly. However you want to do it, I recommend going full pace. You may get naded here. Say, you know, somebody's spotting and they see you running up. You may get naded, so be smart about it. I mean, don't eat a nade if you don't have to. You know, if you know the guy's just going to fall back and grenade, then, you know, try to figure out how to not eat that. You may want to just hold back for a second or two. Thing is, once you do get spotted, you don't want an over-rotation to happen here, okay? So if you get spotted, you want to be fighting 2, maximum of 3 players at A. You don't want anybody from B rotating over, okay? So try to catch 2 people here, 5 on 2, take control of this upper. You know, you could flash bang out, really simple, like I showed you. Just take control of that upper. Okay, once you have this, bomb can drop into the site. The other 2 players stay at upper. Okay, try to control the backhaul and try to control the upper. Okay, 2 lower players, what I recommend you do is one of you probably should kind of peek the sand a little bit, and don't fight it too much, but you really, what you want to do is fight anybody off from sniping up here. Okay, sniping anybody coming in, so you could get that lower guy out and you have close range advantage on the USP with the Glock armor, so you could do that. Another player can also maybe kind of play in the sewer. The main thing here is going to be these 2 lower players. You want to play selectively aggressive. You don't want to try to peek and get frags here. You want to delay rotators. That's the main idea you're going to have down here. You're going to delay the sewer rotate, you know, maybe fire off a few shots, make that guy worry about you, and now he's delayed, you know, 3, 4, 5 seconds minimum. And now you could just run away and reposition, and he's going to have to worry about you again, and he could waste more time that way. So that's a really important, just in general, concept of delaying the rotators on this map is really important. It takes a lot of pressure off your upper guys. Normally, if you do this correctly, okay, and you could delay the rotate from down here too, you know, you could have a second lower player maybe play here, or maybe even cover that lower flank in the beginning. You know, you just want to catch people crossing into the site and make them worry about you while staying alive. And then late round, what's going to happen is that they're going to have 5 or 10 seconds to defuse, and you just have to, you know, they kind of have to lock it, or they have one time to fake, and you have this aerial advantage. You could peek from really, you know, any point you want, and that's going to be the whole way to just defend this bomb plant. So that's going to be your ace strat, just in general. I mean, try both using sand and using lower, see what works for you. The lower strat's a little more direct, and you run less risk of people pushing middle, you know, say they stack mid or something like that. It's a little less risky to go through lower, and it may still work. You may want to try the sand thing too and really pressure that mid guy too, because that's a really hard spot to hold on pistol round with the 1 player. So that's going to be really up to you. Kind of test it out, see what works. Alright? So you have your A split, B split. Really simple. I mean, fundamental, nothing crazy going on, you know, not people running around the map and all that. Really simple strats, functional, and just fundamentally correct. So B split, A split. I'm going to go over a 3rd strat. Okay, this is going to be a little bonus for you guys this week. Alright, and this is going to be a middle strat, and this is going to be a little more complex, a little more thought into this one, a little more strategy and timing and whatnot. So on this middle strat, what's going to happen, the buys can really be anything you want, so I'm not going to go through that, but what it's going to be is 4 players that are going to go middle, and then your 5th player is going to play either at B or at A, but he's going to play, I want him to play at the opposite site that you plan to go to, okay, most of the time, okay. So say you have your 5th player playing B. If you think about this for a second, if you have your 5th guy playing B, and you have 4 players coming up mid, pressuring this mid guy and taking over CT spawn, the other team's going to think you're doing a B split. Okay, and the original strat that I have on this is to go A. Okay, so you're going to have that 5th player B. You're going to have 4 players to run up middle. That's the whole idea, and really just pressure this mid guy to no end. Okay, and you could even try to run in the spawn and kill him, or after you kill him, you may want to even continue for a little bit. Continue over and see what happens. If you feel like you could take B you know, your box room guy maybe, you know, says they're playing really weak in B or something like that, this is the audible you make right now. You know, this is a call you make right now just to continue to B. But whether or not you get this pick at CT, you want to push the CT guy off. You have your box room guy really trying to do work on that B, and at this point, once you're falling back, that B guy, if he hasn't spotted anyone, really has to start putting a lot more pressure. And at this point, what I do is work into just a upper, ever an upper, so pretty much just a 4 upper. So you fall back and you work over into this upper. At this point, this guy's probably not going to be spotting it. Okay, so what I do is walk up this mud, okay, and try to time this with your B guy. If your B guy dies, you're gonna have to pick up the pace a little bit. But if he's still alive and he's doing work, you guys are just gonna work out this upper A, and there should maybe be one guy. I'd recommend maybe getting a flashbang here, or you could just, I mean, creep out and explode around the corner and catch him by surprise. So you can do that, drop the bomb into the site, get a plant off, and once again control from that upper side. Okay. So there's a lot of things that you could do with this strat. I mean, the overall idea is to push that middle guy off early on with the 4 players, and you could even drop in the sand and kind of run around the map a little bit. The main thing is going to be don't get split up into too many groups. I'd say you really don't want more than 3 groups at max. So, you know, say 1 player over at B, that's 1 group already. So say one guy wants to continue over to B or something like that, and then 3 guys go another way. That's the most you're ever going to split up in a pistol round. You don't really want more than that. I'd recommend just sitting in 2 groups, you know, so you have your 1 player on the side of the map, and then you have your 4 players just running around in a group and fragging anyone, because you figure players are going to play really individual on CT. You know, you're going to have maybe 1 player over here at the upper, or 1 player over here, and if you have 4 guys coming out of 1 spot, they could easily get overwhelmed, especially with like the rotations they're going to cause pushing this middle off, especially if you get that middle frag. If you kill this guy in mid, that's going to benefit you even more. If you don't, I mean, it's still going to make them worry a lot about CT spawn, slow their rotations down. You know, an A guy may rotate over to B and anticipating a B split, and then you're going to all explode out, you know, out the upper. That's the main idea of the strat. Okay. So see how that works out. I mean, you guys can, once again, if you get that CT pick and you feel like you could take B, you could even drop maybe a guy in the sand, or 2 guys in the sand and split into plank, and have 2 guys continue CT spawn, do like a B split by killing the middle guy. You know, just a lot of options you have. So experiment, you know, work the strat over the A, you know, like I said. Try even, you know, doing that audible over the B. You could even go sand. You know, try different things with this, but the main idea, try to work on pressuring that mid guy, killing that mid guy early on. So the strat overall is just like a middle pressure strat. 4 middle, and then 1 guy to either of the sites. I mean, I have my guy going B, but you can send your guy upper A with a USP or something like that. I think B is the safest way to go in general if you're sending guys solo. So that's going to be that. I mean, you have 3 strats. To recap, you have your B split. Once again, USP nade guy, nade 2 flash guy, 3-2 split, 2 people box room, 3 people plank. Alright? And then one of the plank guys goes into dark hall. Okay, goes into spiral and flanks. Okay, so 3-2 B split. You have your A split, and that's with either sand or lower that you're going to utilize. So either 2 or 3 players upper. Okay, 3 players upper, 2 people lower, or 2 people upper, 3 people sand pit. Okay, A split, and then you have your middle pressure strat, where you could even do this on either of the 2 other strats and reset and try to run one of the previous 2 strats. So really, whatever you want to do, experiment. A lot of variety on this map, a lot of, you know, kind of spawn based stuff, and just a lot of options that you have. So experiment with everything. Definitely, we want your feedback. Alright, I want your feedback. I want to know how these strats work. So definitely post, let us know how it works. If you have any sort of tweak or anything like that too, you know, say you tweak one little thing in the strat and it worked a lot better for you, definitely just share all of that sort of stuff with us. So like I said, we love your feedback, and that's it for today. I mean, that's Contra T-pistols, 3 different pistols you have, so a lot of work to do, guys, a lot of practice. Alright, so I'll see you next time.